Okay, this is the Salt Lake City reunion, season six. Is it season six reunion, part three? Okay, so Brittany crying is where we had left off, storming off the stage because, she's not anti Semitic or whatever, right? Basically, of what Meredith is implying. And, I guess they're trying to make Meredith feel a little bit bad for what she's doing, but, of course, Meredith's not backing down. She's saying this is proven all that Brittany is a bad person, and she only took the post down because of all the public backlash that she got from it, right? And she's trying to explain she's been so tried to be good to her, right? She was invited to the bar mitzvah. I think her and Angie got into it or something, so she kicked Angie out on behalf of Brittany, things like that. But then somehow Brittany flipped it, whatever later, sometime later, to start lying on Meredith and, like, oh, well, she started it with me. I don't know why she started it. And Andy's like, well, maybe she just don't like you. I mean, I don't know. You don't like her either, right? Boom. And then Andy kind of poses the question, like, well, how do you feel about the other ladies and what they've been saying about what happened on the flight? Especially, we'll say Mary, because the public, the fans, are pretty much on Mary's side when it comes to all the advice and things like that. She's the voice of reason here on the show. And they were starting the conversation to kind of break down to say, like, okay, where Mary was trying to explain to her, like, you keep saying that you don't remember what happened, but I'm telling you what happened, how you were treating, Brittany, this and this and that. And of course, Meredith is saying, well, she did never not admit to not doing anything. She was venting, right? I was venting. It didn't take as however long as y'all saying is, and it wasn't, all the extra stuff that y'all saying I was doing. And in the midst of this, Brittany comes back out. And she goes on to say something to the effect of, like, I've been trying to apologize. I apologize a million times to Meredith already. And this and that, I'm done with it. We'll leave it there. And Whitney was like, wait a minute, girl. You just, and they all looking at her too, like, girl, what the hell? What are you even talking about? Because we was just starting a good conversation with Mary and Meredith, trying to get to the bottom of this plane ride. And here you come strolling in with your nonsense. So, did Meredith have a drink before she got on the plane? She says, yes, she had one in the lounge, only one. And of course, Andy's trying to, like, put two and two to say, well, I mean, obviously the viewers are confused as to how you just don't remember what happened. And she's like, I do remember what happened. I was keep telling y'all, like, I was venting to Lisa, and I was in and out of sleep, and this and this and that. And in the midst of her going back and forth, trying to explain herself or what she was doing with the ladies, Lisa butts in to bring up the boat. Yeah, Lisa is, listen, turning into Lisa now. Because remember, on the last couple episodes, she was actually chill, cool, and ready for her questions. Nope, she's on. I say nope. The real Lisa has showed up. Okay, and she's basically comparing her experience on the boat, being isolated and accused, to Meredith's experiences. So that's how, she has empathy for her and having her back or whatever, and understands where she's coming from. And here Heather go, like, well, obviously because I I accused you of starting all the shit with the rumors and the stuff in the blogs. And I think you're the source, and I still think you're the source, but I still want to be your friend. But you are the one that didn't. I told you this to your face, and I gave you the receipts and all this stuff. And while she's saying all this, Lisa is over there talking at the same time. And she's like, and Meredith, or not Meredith, but Mary's looking at her like, girl, you can't be crying for something that's basically your fault or whatever. And Lisa was like, I am not going to take accountability for something that I did not fucking do. And because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I don't care what you guys say, but I didn't do it. Was this a question to Whitney or to Meredith about the drug test? Like, why would you want somebody to take one, despite saying that you would never take one? Oh, it probably was opposed to Meredith because she's the one that pulled them out to try to, since y'all want to talk about me, popping pills and stuff. Well, let's see what y'all doing. Meredith say she'll take a drug test. Whatever we got to do to prove, I'll take one every day because we already know this is damaging allegations, and I don't want to lose my businesses and all this stuff over this. So if that's what y'all want to do, I will do it. Fine, whatever. Then they asked Whitney about how she feels about, saying that Meredith was popping pills and all that stuff. And of course, she said, I obviously apologized to her, at Greece and everything because I only said it just out of reaction. I was out of frustration because basically, she gaslighted me, trying to tell me that what I saw on the plane was not what I saw, when it's what I did see, and the lies and all that stuff. It was just in comparison to my dad. So that's why I said it. It was just, you know what I'm saying? If she want to go there, then I'm going to go here just to, to see where we was going to get out of her. But obviously it wasn't the right thing to do. And then they go into this, like, I don't take anything anyway. I don't take nothing, no benzos, no sleeping pills, no prescriptions. And she said, I did whatever I took. It was something to go to sleep, whatever. Somebody gave me something, and that you took one too. And they was like, what? And here they go back and forth about who. They did play a clip. Heather over there. Listen, it's Heather over there. Heather got the bag. She passing out the goodies to the girls, whether it's this, whether it's that. You taking stuff you don't know, fine, whatever. But listen, Meredith don't do nothing is what she trying to say. Unless the girls gave it to me. And then if they gave it to me, then they was doing it too. Jeez, oh, peace. To wrap up this whole plane thing, Meredith said the same thing that she's been saying this whole time, which is, I already apologized to Brittany for whatever I did. The girls exaggerating stuff. I vented to Lisa, and that was it. And all Brittany had to say was she wanted to give, some kudos, some props, some appreciation to Mary because even though they're not cool or not friends or nothing like that, Mary was actually on her side pretty much when it came to this plane ride thing. She was, I think, like the main ralliers besides Whitney to be like, yes, something was wrong with Meredith and all this stuff. So, thanks for taking her side and, thanks for helping her out at the airport. And Angie said, wait. I got one thing to say because had it been me, if I was in Brittany's situation and Meredith was doing all of that, girl, Customs and them would have been waiting at the door for you because, yeah, that's how bad you was acting. But that's all I got to say about that, okay? Well, I guess before we get into Brittany's segment, her kids and stuff, Andy does want to extend his appreciation for the ladies all the ladies on the show for being, very open and vulnerable about their lives and things like that with the show because it is part of the success of the show. I think that's why, at least for me, kind of like a Married to Medicine, like they always keep it real, Married to Medicine for sure. On here, yeah, they, especially Heather, she definitely getting down, and Whitney letting it all hang out. And for Brittany to be on here as a newbie, she didn't have to do all that, open up about her family and all that stuff, but she did. So look at Heather over there crying. Andy asks Whitney about how she doing with her company Wild Rose and stuff like that, and Justin. And she says that she parted ways with the person who was partnership with her company, which I think we already knew about that. And, bought back all her inventory and she's going to, keep on pursuing her Wild Rose stuff. And when it comes to her and Justin, communication. That is what they is working on. And they done figured out that, yeah, it's opening up some old stuff, should we say. So as long as they keep this communication thing going, I think they'll be all right. So did Mary just fall asleep for like 2 seconds. And he was like, married. Yeah. So they did ask Whitney, was, going through this hardship with Justin, like, are they going to be able to withstand, is the marriage going to be able to withstand this little hiccup that they got going on? And she was like, it's okay, because they've been through worse, so it's all right, they'll pull through. Is Chloe still working for Meredith? Yes. Is Brooke still working there? No, not so much. Does Seth want to be a pansexual? I don't know. Meredith don't know either. But if that's what he want to do, then she cool with it. Heather is loving this empty nester stage. Like them girls is out there at college, so now she can get her date on and all that stuff and just live her life. So they asked Angie about her daughter, what she up to. Is she gonna get her Greek citizenship and all that stuff? And she said, yeah, that she gonna go and do that, but what she really focused on is trying to be a Olympic jumper and equestrian. Okay, so let's pour energy into that. Brittany and her two girls is, going good. Olivia's there with her, and she took her there to BravoCon, so they good. And then this past Christmas, both of the daughters was with her, so But when it comes to Jared, it's still a fight. Like they still don't like Jared, the other Osmond. Okay, so question about John. I guess the viewers feel that when they had that sit down with each other at the cafe and he was just trying to let her know how he feels, it was kind of like, did he take this time to take jabs at her on purpose, to embarrass her like Todd did Bronwyn? So they like, oh shoot, Bronwyn caught a stray. She did. Whoever wrote that question, okay? But anywho, good question anyway. Of course, Lisa's in her feels because this is her husband, this is her family. They've been together for over 10 years. And she knows that communication is something that she needs to work on. She watched that scene and she literally was in depression for like 2 days. Like, hated his guts, because why would you go on this camera and make me look bad? Because I would never, ever, ever do that to you. And Andy was just trying to say, well, I don't think he was really trying to embarrass you or nothing. I just think he was just, just speaking and just, expressing himself, letting how he felt. And, obviously listening, is a thing. Like, you don't really hear him, like that's what we heard. Like, and Lisa's trying to explain how, they know each other so well. They can finish each other's sentences, this and that. She's working on it, but she just can't believe that he would do this to her, right? So she was just so sad about that. And of course, the ladies are chiming in, and these chime-ins trying to tell her, oh, well, we appreciate your vulnerability, and we were on John's side, obviously, because Mary, it's your husband. If he know you better than anybody else. So what do you mean? Like, oh, well, I don't want nobody's advice. I'm done talking about this, because see, this is what y'all keep doing to me. Y'all keep flipping stuff around and making me the bad person and all this stuff. And they just trying to say, like, girl, we know it was an embarrassing moment, because let's say any of our husbands did that to us. The point is, it was real, Lisa. That is what we're trying to get to, the realness of it all. Okay? Like, can you feel it? Feel it in your soul. Feel it in your heart. That is okay. That is okay. And nobody's beating you up for it, girl. That's what she's just not clicking in her mind. But, and obviously, Lisa, I'm good. I said my piece, whatever. I'm done with it. All right, so we're going to get on Bronwyn here. She ended up losing her father this past year, so RIP. When it comes to her relationship with her mom, obviously, this show has let her mom see herself, and so she knows that, she might be a little bit more rougher than she thought she was, okay? And when you come on these shows, obviously you get a lot of backlash, and obviously the viewers of the show, not a lot of people was liking her mama like that. So seeing those negative comments was not, obviously nobody likes that, right? So it's something, because now it's another thing we'll say, even though they trying to work on their relationship and stuff, but here's a whole nother thing where it's all Bronwyn's fault, okay? So why she's getting the negative backlash and comments or whatever on her behavior, And I think, who was it, Heather, who pointed out, it might be that little bit of Mormonism thing that these people in this religion kind of have embedded in their brains, to where the things she was saying to her, she knows she was on camera, so it was like, well, let me make myself look good to say, well, I mean, I love my child and everything, but having the baby out of wedlock and things like that was definitely a sin, and I had to do what I had to do, and whoop de whoop de whoop. But it is what it is, like I said, it's something that they have to work on, but it's a bit rough, I think. I don't know, Muzzy is a tough cookie. So what was Todd paying for when it came to her parents moving in? She said that he stepped up, financially when it came to them. And basically her father needed round the clock care at home. So that was one thing. And while that was happening, she was at the hospital with her mom, dealing with her mom issues. And then once her mom came home, shortly thereafter, her dad had to go to said facility for his progressed diagnoses, and then obviously her mom is there at the house. So as Andy was going into explaining how the viewers saw the softer side of Todd, right, where he helped her mom move all the things from the house, after to move all the things out of the house so she can sell the house and all that stuff, and move over there with Brown and everything, and whatever. In this, I can't even remember the question that Andy just asked her, but she was like interrupted and said, well, dang, Todd. All these questions about Todd. So is like, what do we want to know? Do we want to start to where I am now, or do we want to go where we was on the show and back and lead up to what's going on present time? And Andy like, well, I want you to tell me anything that you want to tell me. Well, her and Todd are separated. Well, basically, this breakdown between Todd and Bronwyn, I guess she says, came throughout the past year, okay? Because looking back at the show and watching all the scenes that they did together and what he was saying and his reaction, and then just watching herself, it was like, dang, like, what am I doing? What is he doing? Is this what he really doing to me? And what am I doing? And what am I doing to myself, right? Is this how I want this marriage to continue? Or what are we going to do to fix this? We know that Todd's reputation of the show is not the best with the viewers. At some point, he did look up all his little, he looked it up, okay? The Reddits, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, and he saw all the bull. And that definitely did not help with what's going on, okay? I'll say definitely didn't make him feel any better, should we say. It is all on Bronwyn's decision, I guess for Todd, right, it's indifferent, I guess, at the moment, while he figures his shit out. And they're not living together. He is out in New York. She is still back at Utah. And while she is here at the reunion filming in New York, she will not see him. And I mean, reality TV curse when it comes to these marriages, right? Because us as viewers are watching and we're seeing the way I react and things with each other. And like for me, I just felt that he was old man set in his ways and didn't really want to do the show. So that's just how I took it, which is technically what it was. And you're supposed to be open with yourself and your marriage and things like that. The more you get to talking about it, that's where the more the people get to talking and dissecting, like, ooh, what's going on? He said this, and did you see his reaction? Oh, stuff like that. So the more cracks that they showed, yeah, it just wasn't gonna end well. So decision was, let's just separate. So Brittany is, I mean, not Brittany, Whitney is reacting to Bronwyn's segment here because it's kind of mirroring what she got going on with Justin. Okay, not to the extremes because her and Justin are not separating or nothing like that, but the feeling of it's always my fault. I'm the one who messing things up. I'm the fuck up here. Uh, we do know that Justin did lose his job from being on the show. Okay, from when he first started and everything, that wild Whitney back then, getting drunk and swinging on the poles and all this stuff. Yeah, they was doing some body painting. Yeah, his company said, "Nah, we're gonna have to part ways, sir." And I mean, probably stems from back then to have this feeling that she can, relate to Bronwyn on is, yeah. But I love Justin. He my love of my life and all this stuff. So I'm just saying that I can relate though. But me and Justin cool. Yeah, and she takes a little minute to herself and walk off stage. Yeah, Brittany took a minute to go see her husband. Justin, I love you. And he like, yeah, girl, we good. We strong, girl, okay? You sympathize with her, okay, fine. But we good, though. We strong. Mm-mm. So let them take their little moment. We get back to Bronwyn and Ty and things. And, she is worried about him. There is a lot of love between them still. It's just, and Andy obviously asked her, was it the show that broke y'all up? And she said, okay, it's not the show. It's just we were already kind of going in different directions, and I think the show just highlighted everything. Okay, but they'll figure it out on whatever's going on. But there's some love. It's just gonna, yeah, what they going through is gonna take a little minute to get through. Yeah, and they went through the whole thing about the cherry, him eating that damn cherry. I mean, for me, watching it, I felt like he did it to be funny. Okay, so I'm on Mary's side. Well, she said I thought it was cute. I thought he did it to be funny, obviously, because she was whatever talking about the girls and all that stuff. He didn't really want to hear about it. So let me eat the dang cherry, change the subject or something like whoop de whoop de whoop. But it was like a whole big thing, and like, was it really that big a deal? I don't know, but it is what it is. It's a debate up for that because some other people saying it was a big deal, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It just depends on like where y'all was in the relationship. I don't know. Does Bronwyn see a future for her and Todd? Like, this is only a separation. It's not a divorce just yet. Okay, so like I said, she don't know where this is heading, but they got a lot to figure out. I'm actually mad that the beef between Meredith and Heather all stems from a "you lied, you lied, you lied" comment when they was doing the whole Boston Tea Party thing. I'm like, y'all be mad at each other for the dumbest things, honestly. And it really be Heather. Like, that's what I was saying. She has this weird, the Mormon thing, it has corrupted her brain to where she be thinking she be trying to be straight like us in the real world, but you still operating in that Mormonism loyalty following crap or whatever that you do with Meredith and Lisa. Like, I don't know. It's so weird. But um yeah, so that's all they really mad about, because Andy asked them like, where is they at standing today? And they talking about, well, they ain't friends, and they ain't friends right now until they can actually talk and figure it out. Like, for real. So then they asked Brittany about her being upset, or not being upset, but calling or I guess being upset about Meredith not wanting to talk to, or couldn't get a chance to talk to Brooks while they was in Greece on Mother's Day. And she's like, I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, she making a big old scene, which she did, and we're all mothers, and nobody was talking to their dang kids. So just because, oh, you so special got your phone call for whatever couple seconds that wasn't long enough for you, like, you did at least talk to the dang boy, for Christ's sakes. But whatever. Um, some of the other ladies kind of had the same sentiment as Bronwyn said, yeah, I kind of was like, girl, you freaking out over nothing. And here go Meredith doing that old deflecting crap that she always does, where I was upset about something else. And, but we're not going to go into it. And, of course, Andy know what she's talking about. Oh, because you was mad at production? I'm trying to piece together what it was that she was mad about production about, but I'm guessing it might have been the scenes and the way that they're editing the situation, and she's feeling like she's being set up, something to that nature, because Whitney is the main one calling out, like, girl, you've been calling out production this whole mother loving time, which they were editing out, and they showed, like, it's not them, we're here because of them, they help this show along, this is how, you know what I'm saying, we're here, we're co-workers, we get things done. And when we're in scenes and things like that, it is expected that we're not supposed to be on our phones. We're supposed to be engaged, right? In with the people. So maybe, okay, that's why, because you wanted to talk to your son and they told you, no, put your damn phone away, girl. Hissy fit for nothing. How does Meredith feel about the scene with Mary, Bronwyn, and Whitney? Was, remember, they went off to lunch by themselves and they was talking about how they were so worried about Meredith? And Meredith was like, well, I don't know why they're so concerned about me, but it's whatever because I'm just fine. So we kind of go back to Whitney about that whole doubling down on calling Meredith, or accusing Meredith of, abusing substances and alcohol and stuff like that, to where she apologized, but then she kind of brought it back with all those concerns and stuff like that her and Mary was having. And I mean, like she said, I mean, I apologize because I never technically said she was doing said or whatever. I don't know, but the point was I was comparing and contrasting experiences that I've had, obviously, with my dad and what I know that substances do to people. Okay, so that's how I was bringing it to light, and this kind of escalated into Bronwyn and Meredith, like Bronwyn versus Meredith, okay? Because remember, they were supposed to be friends, but Bronwyn figured out that she was being a so-called assistant by just gathering different pieces and evidence off camera of people and the girls and that so that she can bring it back to Meredith, so Meredith can know what's going on and weaponize it when the opportune moment presents itself. Okay, so she's been fed up at this point because she brings up the whole thing about seeing Seth in New York, because she was very careful in how she brought it up, right? And how she said it, because I'm not going to accuse Seth of doing anything, right? I'm just going to say what I saw. Versus if that was Todd sitting there at the table and you and Seth walked into New York, walked into the restaurant and saw him, it would have been flipped around to where it's automatically that Todd is up to no good and this and this and that. So we're going back and forth because, right, examples of how you weaponize against me, but we're supposed to be friends. Like, I actually really liked you. We got a lot of things in common. Like, I think we actually would get along. Same that she was saying about with Lisa. Like, I think we had a lot of things in common. I think, we would get along. But for some reason, you guys don't want to reciprocate the type of friend that I'm being to you. So, do we want to break down this whole thing between you and Meredith about how y'all even came to this beef in the first place? I mean, at least we do get Meredith to admit that, yeah, okay, I might be using a couple things that you be saying against you, but you volunteer that stuff to me, so it is what it is. But yeah, I did it. So what? And Bronwyn does bring up a good point about Meredith because she does all these things and have these conversations and whatnot off the cameras, okay? So that when cameras are rolling and she can bring up said things and then people ask you, well, where'd you get that from or where did this come from? But all this is then all of a sudden, well, I don't know. A little birdie told me. Stuff like that. So or not Bronwyn, but Meredith does decide to apologize to Bronwyn just on the weaponizing. Okay, like I might have did take some things that you might have said and brought it out to the group to be a bitch. I mean, she ain't said them words, but y'all see what I'm saying. Like she did it on purpose. Why did Angie hire Stella to do the Greek tragedy? And I mean, hell, why not have somebody write things that we, subconsciously just are oblivious to, right? So it's good to see us through somebody else's lens. And a tragedy, that thing was. So Angie and Lisa, what's up with their relationship? They keep bringing up this Us Weekly magazine article that they did, which I think was that Desperate Housewife cover that they did, like the recreation of the cover or whatever. I guess it's like, we're like sisters, right? We fight, we make up, we fight, we make up. When they seen each other at the Us Weekly event, she embraced her as if, we just just like old times, right? But then, they're asking us questions, and I said, well, you know what? I ain't gonna talk nothing bad about no Angie. I'm gonna keep it cool. Then I turn around and she over there talking mess about me. So here we go. This relationship is kind of like a tit for tat thing. Like it's like, oh, I thought we was getting over it, but then Angie keeps saying stuff. And Angie, oh, I just keep me trying to be your friend and stuff. But then you do something like, that's not conducive to our friendship or whatever. And I'm just trying to be real with you and this and that. And Lisa's like, well, obviously I'm trying to do the same thing. Like we could talk about life together and family and all this stuff, like real people, right? But it is what it is. They somehow Lisa and Angie have to get off this hamster wheel that they're on because they do like each other, right? It's just, yeah, let go is tit for tat. You dig at me and I'm going to dig harder. And Angie, you got to stop digging at her. Obviously, she's not, I guess Angie want her to be more real. And like Lisa say, I'm trying to be real. You just not listening, or you're not taking it, or I don't know why. You just keep flipping it back on me. But it is what it is. I'm trying to move forward with you. I'm trying to be cool with you. Hopefully, like we can moving forward in the future. Get back to some type of girlfriendship. Okay? Kind of like I think they used to have. That's why I thought y'all was friends anyway. It's just somewhere, I don't know, the show just threw a wedge in there somewhere because Angie, technically, you would have been on Lisa's side this whole time, along with Meredith, right? But it is what it is. They'll be all right. Dang, 12 hours of filming just for these old little ass questions. I couldn't. So, what did everybody learn about themselves this season? Closing remarks. Mary, what she say? She learned to look at yourself and uh, do unto others as other do unto you. Say nah. Oh, put out the energy that you want to receive. Whitney has learned that failure is just the universe redirecting you, but she's learned so much. Brittany has learned patience. For Andy, she's learning some acceptance. Her daughter is what, about 15, 16, and she's finding her way. So same with her. I can't tell tell the girl what to do for the rest of her life, for Christ's sakes. So acceptance, accepting that life is gonna life. Meredith learned, listen, the way you communicate with these girls, listen, that's what we got to work on, is how you communicate and how they receive said words, because I be trying and they don't be getting it. Heather just enjoying it all, okay? The highs and lows of the darkness and the good of these friendships, and all the ladies are navigating through it. Bronwyn is learning about change, change in a means of ending, change in the means of beginning, change in the ways that, she interacts with her friends, change in the way that she communicates with her mom, and change in what's going to happen with her and Todd. The change starts with within. Oh, Lisa, you know what? You be cracking me up. That's why I like Lisa. I mean, she do we hate her for real, for real? I don't know. She learning about intake, listening, because and being heard, because that's what we got to do, listen, take it all in, girl, process, and listen to your husband. And that's it. We're gonna toast with some baklava today. They should have did that old good Greek vodka, Deliasas, Opa, and whatever else, Giannis. Yeah, good season, good season, good season. We got a lot from the ladies, a lot of new information, some dark stuff, some fun stuff, right? Um, and some repetitive things, like the repetitive stuff. But other than that, good season, good season. Reunion, of course, it's gonna be long, but thanks for sticking through, and we'll get back to it next year. Cheers.